The Signalman by Charles Dickens.
"Halloa! Below there!"
When he heard a voice thus calling to him, the signalman was standing at the door of his box with a flag in his hand furled round its short pole.
"Is there any path by which I can come down and speak to you?"
I repeated my inquiry. After a pause, during which he seemed to regard me with fixed attention, he motioned with his rolled-up flag towards a point on my level. There, by dint of looking closely about me, I found a rough, zigzag, descending path, which I followed. Drawing nearer to him, I saw that he was a dark, sallow man, with a dark beard and rather heavy eyebrows. His post was in as solitary and dismal a place as ever I saw. So little sunlight ever found its way to this spot that it had an earthy, deadly smell, and so much cold wind rushed through it that it struck chill to me, as if I had left the natural world. There was something in the man that daunted me. He directed a most curious look towards the red light near the tunnel's mouth, and looked all about it as if something were missing from it, and then looked at me. The monstrous thought came into my mind as I perused the fixed eyes and the saturnine face, that this was a spirit, not a man. "You look at me," I said, forcing a smile, "as if you had a dread of me." "I was doubtful," he returned, "whether I'd seen you before." "Where?" He pointed to the red light he had looked at. "There?" I said. Intently watchful of me, he replied, but without sound, "Yes." "My good fellow, what should I do there? I never was there, you may swear." "I think I may," he rejoined. "Yes, I'm sure I may." His manner cleared, like my own. He replied to my remarks with readiness. Had he much to do there? Yes, that was to say, he had enough responsibility to bear, but exactness and watchfulness were what was required of him, and of actual work, manual labour, he had next to none. He took me into his box, where there was a fire, a desk for an official book in which he had to make certain entries, a telegraphic instrument with its dial, face, and needles. All that I have here condensed, he said in a quiet manner. Once he had to stand without the door and display a flag as a train passed and make some verbal communication to the driver. In the discharge of his duties, I observed him to be remarkably exact and vigilant, breaking off his discourse at a syllable and remaining silent until what he had to do was done. Said I, when I rose to leave him, "You almost make me think that I have met with a contented man." "I believe I used to be so. But I am troubled, sir. I am troubled." "With what? What is your trouble?" "It's very difficult to impart, sir. It is very, very difficult to speak of. If ever you make me another visit, I will try to tell you." "But I expressly intend to make you another visit. Say, when shall it be?" "I go off early in the morning, and I shall be on again at 10 tomorrow night, sir." "I will come at 11. He thanked me, and went out at the door with me. "And when you come down tomorrow night, don't call out. Let me ask you a parting question. What made you cry, 'Hallo, below there,' tonight?" "Heaven knows," said I. "I cried something to that effect." "Not to that effect, sir. Those were the very words. I know them well." "No doubt because I saw you below." "For no other reason." "What other reason could I possibly have?" "You had no feeling that they were conveyed to you in any supernatural way?" "No." He wished me good night. I walked by the side of the down line of rails until I found the path. Next night, punctual to my appointment, I placed my foot on the first notch of the zigzag as the distant clocks were striking 11. He was waiting for me with his white light on. "I've not called out," I said when we came close together. "May I speak now?" "By all means, sir." Good night, then, and here's my hand." "Good night, sir, and here's mine." With that, we walked side by side to his box, entered it, closed the door, and sat down by the fire. "I've made up my mind, sir, that you shall not have to ask me twice what troubles me. I took you for someone else yesterday evening. That troubles me." "The mistake?" "No, that someone else." "Who is it?" "I don't know. I don't know. I never saw the face." "One moonlight night," said the man, "I was sitting here when I heard a voice cry, 'Hello, below there!' I started up, looked from that door, and saw this someone else standing by the red light near the tunnel, waving. The voice seemed hoarse with shouting, and it cried again, 'Hello, below there! Look out!' I caught up my lamp and ran towards the figure. It stood just outside the blackness of the tunnel. I advanced so close upon it that I wondered at its keeping the sleeve across its eyes. I ran right up at it and had my hand stretched out to pull the sleeve away when it was gone." "Into the tunnel?" said I. "No, I ran on into the tunnel, and I looked all round the red light with my own red light, and I went up the iron ladder to the gallery atop of it, and I came down again and ran back here. I telegraphed both ways. 'An alarm has been given. Is anything wrong?' The answer came back, 'Both ways. All well.'" Resisting the slow touch of a frozen finger tracing out my spine, I showed him how that this figure must be a deception of his sense of sight. That was all very well, he returned, but he begged to remark that he had not finished, and he slowly added, "Within 6 hours, the memorable accident on this line happened, and within 10 hours the dead and wounded were brought along through the tunnel over the spot where the figure had stood." A disagreeable shudder crept over me, but I did my best against it. It was not to be denied. I rejoined that this was a remarkable coincidence. "This," he said, "was just a year ago. 6 or 7 months passed, when one morning as the day was breaking, standing at the door, I looked towards the red light, and saw the spectre again." "Did it cry out?" "No, it was silent." "Did you go up to it?" "I came in and sat down, partly to collect my thoughts, partly because it had turned me faint. When I went to the door again, daylight was above me and the ghost was gone." "But nothing followed?" "That very day, as a train came out of the tunnel, I noticed at a carriage window a confusion of hands and heads, and something waved. I ran after it, and as I went along heard terrible screams and cries. A beautiful young lady had died instantaneously in one of the compartments, and was brought in here and laid down on this floor between us." "True, sir, true. Precisely as it happened, so I tell it you." I could think of nothing to say to any purpose, and my mouth was very dry. He resumed, "Now, sir, mark this, and judge how my mind is troubled. The spectre came back a week ago. Ever since, it has been there now and again by fits and starts." "At the light?" "At the danger light." "What does it seem to do?" He repeated, if possible with increased passion and vehemence, that former gesticulation of, "For God's sake, clear the way." It calls to me, for many minutes together, in an agonized manner, "Below there! Look out! Look out!" It stands waving to me. "By this time you will fully understand, sir," he said, "that what troubles me so dreadfully is the question, what does the spectre mean? What is its warning against?" he said. "What is the danger? Where is the danger?" "There is danger overhanging somewhere on the line. Some dreadful calamity will happen. It is not to be doubted after what has gone before. What can I do? If I telegraphed danger on either side of me, I can give no reason for it. They would think I was mad. This is the way it would work. Message. Danger. Take care. Answer. What danger? Where? Message. Don't know, but for God's sake, take care. They would displace me. What else could they do? His pain of mind was most pitiable to see. It was the mental torture of a conscientious man oppressed beyond endurance. I offered to stay through the night, but he would not hear of it. Next evening was a lovely evening, and I walked out early to enjoy it. The sun was not yet quite down when I traversed the field path near the top of the deep cutting. I looked down from the point from which I had first seen him. I cannot describe the thrill that seized upon me when, close at the mouth of the tunnel, I saw the appearance of a man with his left sleeve across his eyes, passionately waving his right arm. The nameless horror that oppressed me passed in a moment, for I saw that this appearance of a man was a man indeed, and that there was a little group of other men standing at a short distance to whom he seemed to be rehearsing the gesture he made. With an irresistible sense that something was wrong, I descended the notched path with all the speed I could make. "What is the matter?" I asked the men.
"Signalman. Killed this morning, sir."
"Not the man belonging to that box?"
"Yes, sir."
"Not the man I know?"
"You will recognize him, sir, if you knew him,"
said the man who spoke for the others, solemnly uncovering his own head and raising an end of the tarpaulin,
"for his face is quite composed."
"Oh, how did this happen? How did this happen?" I asked, turning from one to another.
"He was cut down by an engine, sir. He'd struck the light and had the lamp in his hand. As the engine came out of the tunnel, his back was towards her, and she cut him down. Show the gentleman, Tom."
The man stepped back to his former place at the mouth of the tunnel. "Coming round the curve in the tunnel, sir,"